I am currently on a quest to greatly improve my production quality and my songwriting quality, but to what end? To cut a long story very short, my big goal as an artist at the moment is that I want to make a full album. A lot of people who are a lot more knowledgeable about starting out as an artist than I am will tell you that newer artists should focus on EPs and on singles and on smaller projects, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I love albums and I love album composition. I love albums that are well crafted and well put together. And sometimes that means having an album that has just a narrative all of the way through it. Sometimes actually that just means an album that has a good ebb and flow, and what songs have been put next to what other songs has been intelligently picked, and the album takes you to exciting and interesting places that you didn't think it would be able to. I'm more or less talking about Quebec by Ween here, actually. What are the obstacles to me doing this right now? As I see it, there are two. One of them is the production quality. It's not quite where I would want it to be. To be a bit more precise about that, I think at the moment, what on earth is my hair doing? Oh God, that's worse. To be more precise about that, I think at the moment my songs are lacking body once they're done. I think clarity-wise they're really good. I think you can hear everything pretty well. It's just lacking some punch, it's lacking some power. And I think I know why, and I will get to that, but that's a big thing for me to overcome. The second thing is that I kind of want to find my own style and my own sound a little bit more. Up until now, I have really been emulating a lot of the sounds of the genres and the bands that I like, which is how everybody starts, you know. But that also kind of means that I have been pretending to be a band, I think, and that's not the reality of me writing the music. What do I mean by that? I mean, for example, having a drum kit in all of my songs, and I don't play the drums. I have a lovely little MIDI beat pad. I will play the kick and the snare at the same time, and then I'll add the hats and the toms on afterwards. But you know, it's not a drum kit, and I'm trying very hard to make MIDI drums sound like a drum kit. I think it would be more exciting and interesting to not do that, actually, and to play around with some less natural sounding percussion that more accurately reflects how I am making this music. That's just one example, but generally I would love a slightly more unique sound that is slightly more reflective of how this music is being made and of like who I am and the fact that I'm doing this all in my bedroom. So that's the other big obstacle. So what am I doing to overcome those obstacles? Well, at the moment, the very, very simple answer to that is I am writing a metric fuck ton of demos. That's the plan. Just loads and loads and loads and loads of demos. I'm not even really worried about whether or not they are going to fit into this album idea that I have. I am just writing and trying out different things. And believe it or not, I do think at the moment that this is the solution to both of the problems. Obviously, it's the solution to the sound problem because I'm just trying lots of different ideas, really throwing anything at the wall and seeing what sticks. I wrote a bossa nova song the other day, or a song that was very bossa nova inspired. Kind of had a little like dance beat to it. Very different to what I normally do, but it was very fun. It might actually make it onto the album. However, I do think that this is helping me to solve the production quality issue as well, because I think the biggest thing that I need to do to improve my production quality is rethink my recording, how I'm actually recording, especially guitar and bass, because the current setup that I have gives me an awful lot of feedback noise that I then have to EQ out, and it just muffles the guitar before I have even done anything to it in the mix. The little Geekom mini PC that I use for my mixing is very, very good for that. It's a surprisingly powerful little piece of kit. It's not very good for recording on. It has this horrific feedback noise that it adds to guitar and bass that I have tried everything to get rid of. Doesn't work. So I'm exploring a couple of possible alternatives. I've been doing a lot of demos on just my little Chromebook using BandLab, and I have found that as long as I don't have my Chromebook plugged in, we don't get any feedback noise, so that could be an option, but obviously using BandLab kind of really limits the amps and the cabinets that I have access to, so it's seeing if there's enough there for me to use, or if there's a way I could port the guitar recording over to Ableton and then add the amps and use plugins and such, but I did this with white ink and I wasn't entirely thrilled with the results. I think just recording it all in BandLab would sound cleaner, and that's ultimately kind of the goal. My alarm to go to work went off, whoops. So that's kind of the other thing that I need to do, is just really rethink the recording. It could also mean going to a studio. That could be another option around this, is that I might book in some studio time just for the purpose of getting guitar and bass recordings that are clean. Maybe vocals as well if I have the time, but I don't have quite as much problem recording the vocals. I've got a very nice microphone, I can throw a blanket over my head. That's kind of less of a problem, really. So that's where we're at. There is a full album on the way at some nebulous point. I am writing an absolute ton of demos in service of eventually making this album. Some of those will make it onto the album. Some of those you may well get to hear anyway, because I might just release the demos if I think that they are interesting enough. So please look forward to those as they come.